Hey everyone, this is Anthony DeMarinis from DeMarinis Dog Training, and in this episode of Talking Dogs in a Car, I wanted to discuss attention-seeking behavior and how sometimes that can become worse with the things that we do as owners. So I just came from a client where the dog was constantly seeking the owner's attention, constantly just seeking attention nonstop. The type of dog where it was like, mom, 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 mom. You know, one of those type of dogs, just like a child. And the dog kept barking, kept coming over, nudging, then started bringing toys over, poking her with the toy. And she said that this is something that happens a lot of times when people come over and also when she's on virtual calls with her own clients. And so after asking her a bunch of questions, what I started realizing was that the dog was actually getting reinforced for a lot of the things it was doing. So for example, when she's on virtual calls, the dog might bring a toy over and place the toy on her lap or nudge her with the toy. And so sometimes she would just grab the toy from the dog and throw it to go fetch it. And other times she would play tug with the dog during these calls when the dog would be doing this. And same thing when people would come over the house, the dog would bring a toy over, start asking to play, start wanting to tug, started wanting to fetch. And the owner said, I don't want this dog doing it, it's annoying. And so when I started asking her questions, what we realized is she kept reinforcing the behavior problem because the dog was just simply asking to play. And so what she started doing was playing tug, playing fetch, and what ended up happening was that was reinforcing to that dog. So that dog started learning, every time I come over here to give you the toy, or every time someone comes over the house, or every time I hear your Zoom meetings start, I'm going to bring a toy over, or I'm going to come over and seek attention, and mom's going to play fetch with me, mom's going to tug with me, mom's going to start petting me just to keep me quiet. And at other points, the owner was just yelling at the dog, telling her to shut up. And for that dog was getting very aroused, was very excited. So when mom would yell, it was just getting the dog to get more excited in that particular situation, because yelling and telling the dog to shut up was reinforcing for that dog. So even though the owner knew she was saying, shut up, be quiet, you're annoying, she was saying that because she wanted the dog to be quiet. She knew why she was doing that, but the dog doesn't understand why in the context that she was doing it, nor was it working for the dog. As a matter of fact, all it was doing was backfiring, and it was reinforcing to that dog. So even though it was negative attention that she was giving that dog, it was still reinforcing for that dog. So he continued to do it more and more. So as far as yelling goes, for many dogs, it might be reinforcing. For some dogs, it may stop them in the moment because they get nervous, and as a result, it quiets them down, or they get, a little bit scared and they go roll up in their dog bed in the corner or what have you. And as far as the other stuff that she was doing, I wouldn't be playing tug or fetching when the dog is seeking my attention. If it's a situation where I need to be on a call, maybe the dog needs to be on the dog bed next to your feet under your desk with a bone in his possession. And then other times the dog might just need to be removed from the space before the call even begins, so that way it's not a problem, or that way it doesn't develop into a problem. And then as far as when guests come over, maybe the dog needs to be in a spot behind a baby gate, or maybe needs to be on a station with a dog bone or something else. That way the dog doesn't even practice that behavior. Some trainers might suggest, well, why don't you redirect the dog or redirect the dog's behavior? You can. It's not necessarily wrong. However, if we could stop the behavior problem or the issue of concern before it even begins, you have a better chance at making more success and headway with it, as opposed to constantly redirecting your dog. Because if you start redirecting your dog in certain situations, it could even teach your dog a behavior chain. Like, I start coming over asking for this. Mom redirects me with a hand target. She gives me a treat or a toy, and then I do the same thing over again, and then the same chain of events happens. Mom redirects me, she gives me a treat. I go over there, I bug her again. She redirects me, she gives me a treat. And so that can become a big problem as well, and can create more problems, which I see all the time. So instead, setting the dog up to not even have the opportunity to do those things might be a better solution. Or if the dog does bring the toy over, like I said, just take the toy from the dog and put it on the top of your desk. Okay, it's all done now. Stop bothering me. Or remove the dog from the situation so that way it doesn't continue. And there are a lot of other solutions that can be discussed, but it's going to be based off of the individual dog and the individual situation. So I don't want to just give a bunch of free information that might not work well for your particular dog, but there are a bunch of other things that you can do to try and resolve some of these issues. So that's not really the point. The point of this was really more for just identifying, hey, instead of playing tug with your dog when it's bothering you, maybe, you should not do that and instead do something like set your dog up for success, or remove yourself from the situation, or remove your dog from the situation. So those are just some little tips about this type of problem. So I hope it was helpful. I'm pulling up to another client now. So you can find my websites, behaviordogs.com, myaggressivedog.com, and then Facebook and Instagram is DeMarinis Dog Training and Behavior. I will see you guys soon.